I think that if
Um,
the artists involved are what's the word, like complicit, or if they're involved in the decision making process, or at least warned ahead of time, and doing so, participating of their own free will, I think you can pretty much draw the line at darn near anything. I don't know if I'd quite go as far as what's depicted in the end of Shadow of a Vampire in terms of like how far would you go to complete your movie, but maybe anything up until something like that where people are dying, you know. But yeah, I mean, if people are really passionate about finishing something and they're all doing it willingly, it's
yeah,
hard to make a case for why it shouldn't be done.
Yeah, it's sort of like Shelley Duvall in The Shining, and Kubrick stretching the limits of her, like driving her crazy or getting all over her case. And in a way, some people say it might have helped her performance, but is that really a way to get a performance from an actor?
Yeah. The what is it, the it's a lot of stories about how um not just horrendous the shoot was, but also how far the actors themselves were pushed a lot in making The Abyss. I think Mary Elizabeth Mastronino, or Mastronano, however you say her name, I'm not
uh,
sure, but she I think she like walked off the set a couple of times or something.
yeah. I actually think Werner Herzog set kind of the perfect example in when they were making Rescue Dawn, because like it, really everything that he was telling Christian Bale and Steve Zahn and all those guys to do, he would do it first.
Yeah.
Like, and this is like an 85-year-old man, like sifting through bogs and running across rickety bridges and all that stuff. And so like literally everything that he was telling his actors to do, he was doing it first. But um yeah,
Yeah.
that's also a very good movie. I don't know if you guys have seen
Certainly.
it, but
It's a good
yeah,
movie. Yeah, I've seen it, but yeah, I think ultimately it comes down to trust in a way, because like
yeah,
the Kubrick thing can also say that there's other cases where like Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, he drove them nuts for like what was I think close to 2 years for a talking movie, you know,
Yeah.
like it's
yeah.
basically, and they're doing like crazy amount of takes for every scene, and but they sort of knew it going in, and they kind of went with it, and they got pretty good results. I mean, it's or at least very different from any other performances they've had in their careers. So
For
it's,
sure.
if you're committed to the process and you know it going in, then you make a choice, and there's that trust. But
Oh,
yeah, it's not easy when you're there. It's not easy.
and I mean, obviously, this movie has the added complication of, at least the lead actor was only like 14 when
Yeah.
the movie was being made. So, yeah, to do, I mean, yeah, if you're, ta- uh, uh, yeah, if you're casting Saving Private Ryan and you've got Tom Sizemore, well, actually, well, Tom Sizemore might not have been of sound mind and body given his, you know, substance abuse issues. But like, okay, Tom Sizemore says like, oh yeah, just fire live ammunition above my head. uh yeah, that'll help my performance. And I'm totally on board, and this is just a great piece of art and I want to be a part of it. That's a little different from a 14-year-old kid, saying, yeah, shoot live ammunition over my head. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it's but I mean that's also probably one of the reasons why the Soviets made so many great movies is they didn't really give a shit.
Yeah.
uh, well, and it's not even just the Soviets. I mean, the kid in the Bicycle Thieves, they couldn't get him to cry, so they burned him with a cigarette. You know,
Jeez.
Yeah, there's those stories too, like that people make kids cry by manipulating them, and yeah,
yeah,
no, it's that's not good.
Clearly
It's
crossing the lines of what sort of consent was given there. There's
yeah, no, it's
also uh if as long as we're talking about like how far things should go, there's issues with like things like animals, obviously.
yeah,
Obviously we're living in a golden age now where we can make movies like the Planet of the Apes films where like you've got these like photorealistic apes on the screen that are just incredible, you know, but it wasn't always like that, and
yeah.
I mean, I think that the growing up, I probably watched the Disney live action film Swiss Family Robinson like 1,000 times or something. It's a really good movie, and it's like got a lot of adventurous scenes with animals and things like that on an island and whatever. And in terms of realism, it's going to be hard to ever top it. It's like you got this scene where these two brothers are in a river and they get attacked by an anaconda, and like I never thought twice about it as a kid because I was just watching a movie and it's like whatever. And then I was listening to like the audio commentary, or I don't know, I was like maybe I read it this somewhere, I don't know, but years and years later, I was listening to something or reading something about that scene, and they were saying that like to achieve that scene, they got a real anaconda and they just kind of like let it loose on them. But of course, they like doped it up, so it was like sleepy, you know, and so they just put a real snake on them that they injected with something so it wouldn't kill them. And unfortunately, when they were thrashing around in the water, when the one of the boys has the snake's head in his hands, like his neck, and he's acting, so he's like spinning around and whatever in the water. And the other actor who's playing his brother is like trying to yell at him, don't dunk the thing's head underwater, because when it dunks underwater, it's waking up and it's constricting around them. And he was like, stop doing that. And they get this crazy scene out of it, but it's probably not the best thing for the snake.
Now, I mean,
yeah.
I guess with Come and See, you can kind of maybe imagine that maybe they use it for like lunch the next day or something. But
Possibly.
The cow.
yeah, yeah.
He
The
was
cow,
trying to use it for lunch in the movie.
yeah,
Yeah, no, you can
uh,
definitely make the argument, or at least hope that whether it's the horse and Andrei Rublev or here, that
yeah,
maybe these are like animals that were sort of like Hollywood crashing a car. That's like a crappy car. It's like it was basically destined to be put down, so might as well, or Christopher Nolan like uh,
crashing a plane.
well, that, but no, but in the Dark Knight, the hospital that they
Oh yeah,
detonate was a hospital that was gonna be essentially scrapped, like it was gonna be detonated
yeah.
anyway. So it's like we just get our cameras there and detonate it our own way, and
Well, the water buffalo in Apocalypse Now, they say, I mean, I think they butcher it for a big festival in the movie. And I think they said that that's exactly what they did with it afterward. Anyway, the thing would have been, even if they weren't filming, they would have butchered the thing anyway to feed everybody. They just did it on camera.
yeah, it's tough. Those ethical things are it's tough. There's definitely like anything else in life, it's tough to draw a line. So you just have to kind of pick. But yeah, definitely nobody should die, especially a human. And so when that happens, that's pretty bad. And
Unless they want to.
yeah, well, even that's complicated.
Yes.
Although apparently, I mean, I think stunt doubles like have a history of either having really bad injuries or dying, more so, of course, than actors or
Oh
crew
yeah, of
members.
course.
But but I guess that's part of the risk that they go. But that is kind of crazy that
Yeah.
that's acceptable in any sort of way. And then as
I'm
far as
just glad that they're
animals,
finally getting credit.
Yeah.
yeah, and
Well,
animals, I wonder. I mean, you kind of feel like at least now we have CGI, but it is limiting to the extreme that they say that you can't harm an animal when we butcher them left and right all the time for, for feeding
yeah.
people, but for entertainment, it's not okay. There was that story with the dog. It's like that dog movie that came out. I don't know, a
Oh
story of,
gosh.
and there was like
Talk
that
about
German Shepherd that
bad
was like,
press.
yeah, like it was like swimming in the water. Is like, it was like under duress for like a minute or two. It's part of the scene. Humans are under duress as they're acting. You don't have to like kill the whole movie over that. It's.
I heard it wasn't a great movie
Yeah.
though.
Yeah, but it's a dog who's an actor and it's
Yeah.
doing a tough scene. So what? Like, you don't think DiCaprio strained himself a bit in The Revenant? you know?
Right.
He
Well,
lacerated his hand pretty bad in Django.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that is kind of the so much of the bullshit of this, and that uh, there are so many rules about how I mean, I think actually, bullshit. The Penn and Teller episode on PETA, where they're saying like they wanted to see if they could catch, kill, and clean a chicken, by themselves, but they weren't allowed to because the rules say that they can't kill an animal for entertainment, but they can show you like these chickens all being like decapitated there, on a screen of just a livestock farm, killing and cleaning chickens. So I mean, does the chicken really care all that much if it's being killed for food in that context rather than just being killed for entertainment? I mean, does it really understand that? Um, and I mean, yeah, well, uh, yeah. So I mean, I think so long as we're living in a society where we are killing cows by the thousands, by the tens of thousands every single day, killing a cow for a movie doesn't seem all that horrible, right? I don't
Especially
know.
if you eat it afterward.
Yeah, and that's probably going to get me into a lot of trouble with a lot of people.
No, but it is a good point, but at the same time, yeah, it's tough. Definitely, if you can
Yeah,
fake it for sure. But it is true that it's really, I mean, it's something that would have been done anyways. But you know what? As you're watching it in the movie, it always feels worse than eating a burger. you know, it's always like, because there's that connection. It's like, the cow. It's too bad.
yeah,
I mean,
Like it's
well, in terms of effectiveness, I'll say this much. I mean, the cow in this movie looked much more real than the one in Me, Myself, and Irene.
yeah. I think I remember something about that cow there.
The
Yeah,
one that Jim Carrey tries to give mouth to mouth to.
yeah. I need to
uh,
watch that movie again.
You really
Um,
don't, but
No, I know it's not one of his best, but it was one of the last ones that was like one of his like, well, he wasn't his height, but it was
well,
like,
he's great in it, and so are the
yeah,
three guys that play his sons. It's just kind of like Renee Zellweger.
yeah, that's true. I guess we brought that up before. She
yeah,
can bring down things.
Quite
Yeah.
unfortunate.
yeah.